Disclaimer. The content presented in this program is entirely satire, and the mainstream media always tells the truth. COVID was true, and you should be vegan, and everything James Devon Johnson says isn't real, and James has not achieved any real-world success and is very financially poor. Do not use these words against him in court because the entire show is satire, and he really loves President Biden and feminists. James thinks that federal agents are very respectable people who are not fat nerds. Please do not take this program seriously and get your booster injections as soon as possible.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the JD Show. I'm your host, James. I am with a special guest tonight, and by all ado, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashtyn Zerboni. Pleasure to meet you.
Great. Well, Ashtyn, thanks for coming on the show. Cheers, by the way. Got our evening time tequila, kind of settle the mood a little bit. I don't think this one's going to be too heated, so may not even need this. But you come from an interesting background. You started a modeling career when you're, what, 18, 19?
18 years old.
18 years old, and you've told me behind the scenes some pretty cool stories so far. So tell me from the very beginning, like you started off in the US and then eventually you ended up to Europe, right?
So yeah, my story actually is quite interesting. I was a super nerd in high school. I actually took anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry in high school. My senior year, I was top of my class taking biochemistry. I had a biomedical research internship at UCSF, and I had my foot in the door because I wanted to be a facial reconstructive plastic surgeon. Top of my class, that girl. But I loved to do theater. It was my passion. It was my hobby. My mom always said, this is your career, that is your hobby. You separate the two. And it didn't stop me from still putting myself out there for these modeling or acting jobs. And I was doing modeling for this one company that I told you about, Umbrella Girls USA, where they recommended me for this other modeling job out of the country. And I was 18 years at the time, already enrolled in college, and I remembered applying, wishful thinking, like there's no way I'm good enough to get this job. There's no way I'm going to get it. And I applied anyways, forgot about it entirely. Continued on with school, whatever. I'm like, one day I'm studying and then I lay outside to like get a suntan and I get a FaceTime call from a random number. And I answer and it's literally like my video FaceTime call for like them to see what I actually look like. You know, they wanted to catch me off guard to see that I looked like my photos. Kind of like how you take pictures, you know,
like digitals yeah.
before. And on the phone, I'm like, they're like, do you have a passport? Can you come? I was like, no, I don't have a passport. How serious are you? Because I'm about to drop out of college and go get my passport if you're really serious. I'm like, nope, we're serious. Drop out of college, go get your passport. We'll see you soon.
Very
That's
cool.
exactly what I did. And yeah, I ended up, what was supposed to originally be 2 to 3 weeks, ended up being a year in Ibiza, atmosphere modeling. And from there, I remember they were picking a handful of girls to go to London, and I was one of the girls picked. And I also didn't think I was going to be so then, and I was like, wait, you guys have to send me home. I don't have any like winter clothes. It's all tropical. I lived in Ibiza for a year. And they go, well, instead of sending you home, we'll give you $3,000. You can go shopping. Here. I was like, are you joking? This is what I get to do?
That's a pretty good deal.
Okay, deal. Yeah. And then I ended up I sent them a bunch of my friends until they liked one of my friends and enough that they thought she was model-esque to come. And so one of my girlfriends lived with me in London for that whole time, and she was a vegan chef, which was perfect because I'm a vegetarian, so kind of worked out perfectly. But yeah, what was supposed to be 3 weeks turned into a year in Ibiza plus a year in London, England, and then went home for a little bit, and they called me and, hey, do you want to come to France? So then I was in Courchevel, France for a little bit as well.
Oh, there you go. And that was like all atmosphere modeling for the most part.
All atmosphere modeling.
Yeah, yes. Very cool. Like most people in America have, well, even in California, the atmosphere modeling industry out in California is huge. But even still, I'd probably say 99.9% of people have no idea what it is. They've never heard of it.
A lot of people don't know what it is, and they have negative negative assumptions
That's
when
very
you go
true.
to tell them about it.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like Nevada has a lot of atmosphere modeling. Vegas does a lot of atmosphere modeling. I've been invited.
Vegas does a lot of atmosphere modeling, but then also in Vegas, there's a lot of prostitution.
Is it legal there?
It's not legal in Vegas, but the northern county, like I think it encompasses like Carson City, Reno, it's legal up there. But in Vegas, they look the other way. But it's still like a huge industry out there.
So that could be scary then if you're in an area where it's a gray. Sometimes people are okay with it.
Yeah, it's like atmosphere modeling is huge out there in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of girls will get some negative stigma behind them when they say, oh, I'm going out to Vegas, I'm showing up to this party, I'm getting paid this ridiculous amount of money. Yeah. People are like, hey, wait a minute, what
did you have to do for that?
Yeah, exactly. But most people don't realize, atmosphere modeling is like showing up to an event or party, you're not getting touched,
creating a good atmosphere.
Yeah,
you're making the vibes. If not only look hot, I mean, you could stand there and look pretty, but I feel like when I was doing it professionally, it's like you are a vibe. People enjoy being around you. That's a whole reason why people pay you to come. Not just because you're hot. You can find a million hot girls. I mean, that's an important key. Don't get me wrong.
Well, yeah, that's the first aspect. You got to be hot, and then preferably.
Can you create a good atmosphere for people to want to pay to be around you?
Right. Exactly. Like I've had some very wealthy clients. One in particular, he's actually based out of San Diego, where you are, and he has this gorgeous yacht out there. Amazing vessel, and he does business with all types of people around the world, and his secret business tactic is inviting like men who he wants to do business with onto his yacht just for a party. He labels it a party, but then he surprises them by getting in touch with me, having a bunch of very beautiful models show up just to have a good time.
I know
party.
who this is, but I won't say it on here.
yeah. Let's not. Well, let's talk after and see if it's the same guy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that do it.
I'm sure.
But yeah, like it's a great business strategy.
It really is.
And some people just want to have fun too. Like.
No, I mean, I feel like I constantly am invited to dinners where people just, oh, hey, I'm going to dinners with my business partners. Would you like to join? Just because guys like a female-friendly face around. And I guess that somehow benefits their business deal.
Yeah, it really does. Like I myself have used this strategy many times. Like go to some networking event, business related like conference or whatever, and I'll always bring at least a +1. Yeah. It helps even more if you bring 2 extremely beautiful models. Yeah. And you have them both say because like, then, oh yeah, this is my boyfriend. Like, wait, both of you guys? And then it's like,
wait, really?
Yeah.
If you have them say that both of them are yours.
Yeah. So I actually do have a girlfriend, and she
knows that you use this ploy.
Yeah, she's really cool, and she actually helps me with it. Like in my line of work, it's difficult having a traditional relationship, right? Yeah. Plus, like I think traditional is a little boring, so that's my own personal take. But yeah, she's totally cool. Like with me inviting another equally beautiful woman out. And they'll both say, oh yeah, like James is my boyfriend. And all of a sudden, even if I'm the poorest guy in the room, like I've been to some events where
you're the coolest guy.
They were all billionaires.
Oh gosh.
And I'm not anywhere close to being a billionaire yet, right? But I had 2 gorgeous women with me. Next thing you know, I'm the most popular cat there. Yeah. Talking to every single person I want to talk to.
They want to know, how did you do that?
Exactly.
Even though it was a ploy.
Right, see?
Smart. Very business savvy of you.
Yeah, and then of course we get to all go home and have fun afterwards too. So I guess technically, it is like my second girlfriend, but teach their own.
Gosh. Me and my moral guidelines are like, no!
Yeah, you come from more of a traditional background, it sounds like, which I actually think is going to be really refreshing for the audience to see you talk about a little bit. Let me know in the comments, how old do you think she looks? And please be honest.
Before you say
don't
anything.
Be dicks.
Yeah, give them a second. Ready? Guess.
So yeah, 28 years old. Incredible. You are currently married, right?
Married, yes. Got married almost 2 years ago now. Been with him for over 6. Yeah.
That's incredible. And is it a traditional marriage? Like?
Yeah. I mean, met him, fell in love. It was kind of crazy because we did long distance for a year. I lived in Fresno. He lived down in San Diego. I was on a dating app. He was actually the first person I messaged on this dating app. And this dating app was different than other ones where when you first downloaded it, it gave you one free message to send to anybody without having to match with them. So I scrolled through profiles for hours until finding him. I sent my one free message to him. I handpicked this motherfucker.
Oh, wow, okay. Usually that's not how it goes.
No,
so.
it's not. It all got extreme.
You hunted this guy down.
I hunted him down. I found him. He said when he saw my profile, he thought I was a catfish. He thought there's no way this beautiful girl wants me right now. Like, and he's hot. Like, that's why I messaged him initially. I didn't know anything about him other than his looks. And yeah, we talked for a bit. He said I found out this later, but he said that he had found my Instagram and like other things that kind of corroborated what my profile was. And then after that, he wouldn't leave me alone, you know, because he was more interested than even I was. He was my one free message. But yeah, after talking for 4 months, we finally met in person, which I was like super kind of closed off to. He invited me multiple times to come see him. We almost stopped talking because I was so scared to just meet a random guy online that I'd never met before. Like, that's a scary situation for a woman. I mean, you can put yourself out there, but it could go one of two ways. You know, it could go good or you could be kidnapped.
Yeah.
Sold for sex. You know, you just never know, and it's scary. And I've almost been kidnapped 3 times. Which is something that I didn't tell you before. So it's a shocker to lay on you
now
right
I'm curious. How does one almost get kidnapped 3 times?
So do you know where Fresno, California is?
Yes.
So I'm from Fresno, and it is a bit of a ghetto area, sadly. The first time that it happened, I was walking on my own street going to my friend's house, and a gold van pulls up to me and hops up on the sidewalk that I'm walking on, like almost hits me, and swings open the door and grabs my arm and tries to pull me in the van.
Wow.
And fun fact, I was in martial arts growing up. I was on the wrestling team in elementary school. And my dad's a double black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I grew up in martial arts because I was always going with my dad to the dojo. And there's this really simple move that if you grab a woman's arm, all you do is you throw up and down and it breaks that grip. And I just took off running.
You've been in a relationship for 6 years. You've been married for 2 years. You're 28 years old, pretty young. So I take it you're probably more of a traditional woman. Like, do you mind asking me, do you mind me asking you, how many people have you been with?
Before my husband or
before your husband?
4.
4, wow.
I can count the men on one hand.
Wow, good for you. That's very uncommon these days. I think that actually says a lot about your character too, especially with how society kind of tries to really normalize and almost encourage women to go sleep with many people as they can, and that it's okay. What made you different?
I will say that I lost a lot of potential relationships growing up with people because I wouldn't put out, because I told them that I needed more of like a relationship and getting to know one another until I would get to that point, that I would literally be called a prude. I was one of those girls who like, oh, she won't put out. Like, people would be mean to me for that. But now it's like people are like, it goes full circle. It goes from, you're a prude, she won't put out, don't be with her because you won't get anything out of her, until later it's like, she's a good girl, she's the one you want, she's the one you want to marry. And it's crazy how we can, as a society, young men can make you feel like it's cool at the time because they want it so bad. But then later, when men grow up, they want the women who haven't experienced as much.
Yes. Now that's been the same for my case too.
Turn of events. And it's like where men made fun of me for being a prude. I don't put out. I'd lose literally boyfriends because I wouldn't do what they wanted me to because I wasn't quite comfortable yet. And they wouldn't allow me the time to get there. The guy that I did end up losing my virginity to, I was with for over 3 years.
Oh, wow.
He waited 3 years for me.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah.
That's,
wow.
That's not normal by any means.
No, not at all.
You know, it's interesting too.
And I know that he only had sex with 2 more girls after me before he got married.
Oh, well, okay. And I take it he was like same age as you?
Mm-hmm. Exact same age.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's definitely very
rare.
uncommon.
Small town. I mean, I'm from Fresno.
Yeah, small town vibes. Yeah, it does, change a little bit depending on your upbringing.
Yeah.
A lot of it, yeah, for sure.
100%.
It's interesting though because the divorce rate is at an all-time high in this country, and there is this very interesting study.
Yeah.
I can't quote it offhand right now, but the data basically showed that specifically for women, once they have a body count of over 6, the success rate for marriage drops automatically to 20%.
And why do you think that is?
That study actually goes further into more explaining the science behind the female brain chemistry when she does have sex. So it's completely different.
She can't give herself to too many people.
Right, so men and women are completely different in that aspect. Like 100%. Men could have sex with a lot of different partners and have zero emotional connection with anybody.
Because it's all just sexual releases.
Right, men kind of disassociate the emotional connection with sex. Women don't. Women release a certain hormone when they have sex. Yeah.
And that's why guys will say that women get clingy after they have sex or feel this certain way, but it's because certain things go on completely separate of one another.
Right.
It's like, because if you have sex with a woman, you could potentially get them pregnant. You are now going to be the father of their children in their brain chemistry. And that is kind of where I think the association comes from.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense in my opinion. And that means for you, like, you have a much greater chance of having a successful marriage.
I mean, I love that you say that. I haven't thought of it that way, but I do. When I think about it, I literally cannot imagine not being with him.
Yeah, you have a deeper pair bonding connection where women who have a lot of bodies under their belt, it's a lot harder for them to pair bond.
It's more of a disassociation.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Wow, that's really crazy to think about because I feel like I feel that, but I didn't know that it was like a statistic among women.
Yeah, see, most people don't understand the statistics or the science behind it, but they do feel it. Even women who do end up sleeping with a lot of males, it happens eventually. Most of them end up deeply regretting it.
Yeah.
Like you see Lana Rhoades, what's the porn star with the glasses?
I don't even watch porn, my friend.
I mean, neither do I. I'm a big advocate against it. I haven't watched porn since I was 22 years old.
And it was last year? No, I'm just kidding.
Good one. I like you.
I told you to keep it on your toes.
I like that. Kudos. But no, for real, these porn stars, right? Very famous, big porn stars have had sex with thousands of men, and that was their whole life. And now they're coming out, going on talk shows and stuff, talking about how much they regret it.
Really?
Yeah.
That they regret it? Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I always thought that something had to be disassociated in their head to where it was always okay, not that they would come to a realization.
Well, they disassociated for a long time, but it caught up with them.
Yeah.
So they actually built up years of trauma and disassociated from it, and eventually it caught up to them.
I will say that I even have friends who do have like daddy issues, which really is a thing with women and how they will allow their bodies to be sexualized more, I will say. And that they will come into like a situation where they didn't even want it, but they allowed it. And I feel like that is just a dark thing for them to have to go through because they just didn't have the power to say no.
Yeah, no, that's something that I've heard before, and I don't think it's uncommon for women to do that. And some women also think about it this way is like, oh, it's just sex, because that's what they were taught to believe growing up. That's what society pushes on them. And they're thinking like, well, it's normal, like girls should have sex and whatever, but like deep down they're still hurting after those one night stands where they get booted out the door.
Also, I think that more women should vocalize, hey, I just got tested for STDs. Are you going to wrap up? Or when's the last time you've gotten tested? Show me your test results. Having that open conversation with somebody to make sure that they're having sex in a safe way, even if they're having multiple partners, making sure that everybody is safe, speaking up about it. You know, hey, when's the last time you've been checked? Oh, you haven't? No worries. Let's just wrap it up. And then we can. But I feel like not enough of people that I've spoken with who've been in like a sexual situation, sometimes it's hot and heavy and it happens fast and you don't have the time to have that conversation. No, stop them. Hey, do you have a condom? Have you been checked? Let's just have this quick little side convo before we continue.
Yeah, no,
so
STDs
respectful
is huge.
Of your body as a woman. It's so respectful of the other person as well, because it gives them a chance to be like, yeah, I actually did. When's the last time you did? Mm-hmm. You know, like it's a two-way street. It's not a one-way. And it's really important, I think, for people to respect themselves in that way, even if you are being promiscuous. Because what's the real downside of having sex with multiple partners? Sexually transmitted diseases. So if you can prevent that, it can kind of maybe help people with the mental instability of being promiscuous.
Yeah, I mean, with birth control being so easily accessible too, it also makes it more, I guess you could say, challenging for people to consider using protection because people don't necessarily think about STDs for the most part when they engage in casual hookups.
I feel like I think more about STDs than pregnancy.
You're also a rarity.
I guess that's true.
You're a rarity
I'm on
yourself.
Birth control and I still never let any of my exes
married
before
at 28
my
years
husband.
old. You're been in a relationship for 6 years. You have a very low body count.
And he's the only one I've ever let come in me.
There you go.
Just to say it blatantly, as all the other people before, I was like, I don't want you to be a father. That's a no, even though I'm on birth control, still no. You know?
Wow, good for you.
Just a respecting thing. I didn't want to have to like be the one to think in my head, could it be the 1% chance that it didn't work? No, you don't get to. I don't think you can be a father.
So it sounds like you definitely would advocate for modern day women to
100%.
hold off on engaging in random hookups.
Don't do it. Also, like, if you really like a guy, the quickest way to get them to leave you is to
Yeah, well, I mean, for most men, like, that's what they're going for,
100%.
you know, so a lot of guys have the mentality of once they get it, they don't need to put in any more effort.
Even when I met my husband now, I met him, we'd been talking for months, and I remember just thinking, he's so hot, like, I want him. It's not like I don't have a craving for it, it's just that I want to make him want it more.
Right. You held off because
I held off because I'm thinking about the long-term aspect. Exactly. And like, you know, give him like a little peek or like just like, you know, a little taste of something, but not enough that he's satisfied. Mm-hmm. And then make him linger on that. Okay, I'll see you hopefully soon. He's like, can I see you sooner? When can I see you?
Yeah.
We were supposed to see for Valentine's Day or for, you know, our thing, but let's see on Valentine's Day, which is like a week later from my birthday. Mm-hmm. And we made it official that day.
Okay.
On Valentine's Day. So we literally met a week later, we made it official. And then he asked me to move in after 6 months. I told him no. I go, I think you gotta wait at least a year for me to do that, even though I wanted to. Mm-hmm. It's again, just me playing you gotta work for it, you gotta wait for it, because guys love that. And it sucks that we have to do that as women, because we want it too. I'm like, yeah, I wanna move in with you. No.
I mean, for a guy like myself who is, you know, not to sound douchey or anything, but I've always easily had access to beautiful women. Like,
your Instagram did look douchey to me.
Well, thank you. That's the point
is that a
of
thank
my
you?
Instagram.
Maybe if a man is looking at it, it's a thank you, but not if a woman's looking at it.
Well, that's the image that, you know, it's related to my professional industry.
Okay. No, for sure. I mean, hot women around you.
Yeah. So when I do
I could give you some recommendations on how to do it in not maybe a less douchey way.
All right,
like.
yeah, let's talk offline. Let's see what you have to say.
Okay, I will.
Definitely interested in your opinion. I actually do value your opinion. You seem very intelligent. You have a good head on your shoulders.
Thank
you. And again, it's another rare thing that you don't see very often. But back to the point, because of my access to women and like I have never been deprived of sex, I actually do find it very refreshing when a woman does make me work for it. And I actually
so
do
you have
get
a very
repulsed.
male,
I do get repulsed by a woman who makes it too easy.
come to me. Yeah.
Yes, like I've been at parties and stuff like that.
Do you ever have that inkling of like, what kind of STDs could this woman have because she's so open to it? Or is that still not something that crosses your mind?
I still think about it, but like I do have those conversations. Like
you do?
About.
Okay, that's
good. Something that I do. So
you're a rare one then.
Yeah, I feel like at least for me, that's not too much of a concern because I'm not afraid to ask, right?
Yeah.
But still, like the promiscuous woman in general just kind of turns me off. Like I've been to crazy ass parties, as you already know, and I've had girls just throw themselves at me and do. It sounds kind of, call it misogynist, whatever, but I found it slutty behavior that I didn't like starting to twerk in front of me or try to like sit on my lap, give me a lap dance. And it's like, I'm good. I'm sure all the other guys that they know are really into that because most men don't really get women that easily.
Yeah.
So
you are a handsome dude. So not only do you have a lot of girls love military men, love the strong, handsome aspect, and then you are a good-looking dude, so that does kind of add to your, I get it.
Yeah, so you understand where I'm coming from. Like, just because it's been easy for me,
doesn't mean you
now makes me turned off to women who allow it to be easy.
Good. You should be. Don't be a complete man whore. We don't want that.
But I do think being a man whore is good in a way. Let me tell you why.
Are you trying to say that you're like a man whore enthusiast? Like you coach other men to be a man whore?
I know you're going to hate this. I know you're going to hate this.
Oh, don't make me hate you.
But I do think it's important for a man when he's younger. Again, there's always exceptions and everything, right? Like if you grow up to a certain religious standard, I think that's an exception.
Okay, I think I know where you're going.
Generally speaking, men need to have experience with women. If you really want to narrow down your dating pool and get yourself a very high value woman like yourself with a low body count who's extremely beautiful, smart, has all the green flags, you need to be that guy that every woman wants. And you're not going to be that guy if you don't have experience, right? Most women...
I hate you because my husband told me this too.
Yeah. Was he a player?
Yes. He's like, I had such a high body count and I hated it. And he goes, honey, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't know what I had with you to appreciate it. And I'm like,
thank you. Thank you. Because it's true. You would
I don't like to hear it though.
You would have not been the type of guy that you fell in love with if you didn't have that experience. So you can't even argue that it's not important.
I like want to argue so bad because also my little brother, I was like, well, my little brother's been with the girl for 8 years. Like, they're doing great. She's going to be a doctor. My brother's going to electrical engineering school. Like, she's so sweet, so perfect. What do you... And he goes, they're going to break up. That's what my husband told me. He goes, they're going to break up. That's his first? No. He needs to go experience more. And I go, honey, don't say that. I love her. And they recently broke up. And I love his new girlfriend even more than her. They just get along so much more. Like, I caught him doing some things on the camera outside that were inappropriate. But I know that my husband literally was speaking to his behalf and not to the woman's behalf. He was speaking to, this is what that man needs to go through. This is what your brother needs to go through to really realize what he needs. And I hated it because me being so...
The world's not fair.
The prudent is what people call me before, but still kind of maybe I am. Me being like, no, he found his one. They've been together for 8 years. Why wouldn't it work out? Like, they're perfect. And then my husband just ended up being right. And I love his new girlfriend. And it's the perfect person for him. And he's gotten to do his little butterfly thing and come back. And yeah. Sucks, but men and women are a whole different species.
It is.
Entirely.
Yeah, that's facts right there.
A whole different species.
Yeah. Well, we're getting close on time, but this has been a really refreshing episode. I am very confident the audience is going to love hearing more from you. So we're definitely going to have to get you back on the show, 100%.
I'm definitely down. I got more crazy stories for you.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, James.
Guys, that's it for now. If you'd like this episode and you'd like to see her back, let me know in the comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.